Hey there, Rock Rebel magazine.
How the tour is going? The first question. And
It's
how do you feel for tonight in Milan?
well, the tour's been going great. The most fantastic thing is that we have Rotten Christ, which we've known and we've been like brothers for over 20 years. We toured with Rotten Christ back in '96. We played in Italy, which was amazing. I met the fan today. He
Uh-huh.
said he was 38 years old and he saw us 23 years ago with Rotten Christ here in Milan. And I was like, we must have been young.
Yeah.
So it's very fascinating to meet people that saw us back then. That's what makes it exciting to play tonight because it's so many years coming to Italy. I remember the first time we played here with Morbid Angel at the Rainbow Club,
Uh-huh.
and unfortunately we missed the show because of the border. We were stuck at the border for 8 hours, and the fans were amazing. They just wanted to meet us and they bought merchandising even though we didn't play. And we were
Wow.
like, but we didn't even play. We feel bad. Like, no, no, no. We want. And since then we've always had this good connection with Italy. We've played from south to north festivals for over 20 years. So many friends. We toured with Lacuna Coil many years ago. We were on the same label. They're good friends of ours. So it's a special connection when you tour like 50 shows in Europe. There are a few countries that will make us remind us of Portugal, and only Portugal, Spain, Italy, and Greece, and some of France. Maybe we get this charismatic side of life. How we see life, family, and how we the commitment we have with each other. It's a lot different than you see in the rest of the world, and it's evaporating very quickly with all the fast-paced lifestyle, the internet, the jobs, the kids, and everything. People forget the human side of people, and we need music and something to connect with, and this is how we connect with people.
Good. So you expect to have a good audience tonight? Yeah.
I hope so. We've always had really lately the last couple of years we have a great audience in Italy. We feel a certain nostalgia, coming from the fans because it's each time it's more rare to get metal shows, and you see that happening all over the world. Even though on this tour we've had a lot of sold out shows, we've had a lot of people. Even if it wasn't sold out, it was almost sold out, which is very surprising for just three bands coming from Greece, Portugal, and Switzerland.
Sounds good. And what about the music you are creating? You put a lot of ingredients in the songs, like orchestra and then symphony and the guitar and rhythm and the voice. How it's possible to balance all the ingredients you put inside the songs to have great songs like you do?
Well, sometimes it can be tricky because there are lots of layers, and with Moonspell, traditionally we like to have a good bass, a good root for the song, something that's inspiring. And many times that can come from the guitar riff, can come from the vocal line, can come from the drums. We've had so many songs created differently, and the connection that we have with each other, with the influences that we like we try to bring back what we listened to when we were young. Of course, we were into death metal, black metal, but also we were huge fans of Type O Negative, Sisters of Mercy, Fields of the Nephilim. So even myself, I liked when I was younger, I loved anything that was orchestrated. Like I wanted to study percussions, like with timpanis and all this. And also has to do with the Portugal. We're not known for a specific sound of metal because it didn't exist. We're just known for fado, which is very melancholic. So this is also the way we try to write our songs. We always feel that sorrow and that deepness, and also that stubbornness that you feel from the past, and we put this into our music, and we try to evolve. On the other hand, we've had the opportunity to work with the best producers in the scene, Swedish producers, English, Danish. Tomatsen is amazing, and all the bands we toured with. There's a huge market, and so they also influence us. So that's what I think the chemistry of going on tour and really living the albums that you make live makes a huge difference to see the reaction of the audience, and that feedback to us makes us feel good and wants us to make it even better and continue. But Moonspell has always been that way. It's very hard for us to do the same album after album. It's like we were always alternating between the metal world, the gothic world, sometimes even experimentalism, with electronic music, or just stuff that that will make you feel like you're a soundtrack of a movie. That's something like the horror side. It's something that we've always been fond of too. So it's a lot of ideas. That's why our music, I think, has that effect of a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and you did also a very brave decision to make the last album was all in Portuguese instead
Yes.
of English. So you are very linked to your country. And do you think that Portugal it's a good place for gothic metal, for metal, and for this kind of music?
Well, I think Moonspell's been fortunate. We have a huge base. We've done amazing things. Played, the main Coliseum like 7 or 8 times. We've played the bullfighting arena where we did our DVD at least 2 or 3 times. The biggest festival. So we have a huge audience. But what's lacking is the continuing, like you see in Finland. It's not just Nightwish or him. There's so many other bands coming along, and they have a really strong scene. Unfortunately, in Portugal, we don't have that scene, and I think it's a lack of support, especially from the state. We see in these Scandinavian countries, it's easy to get a studio, it's easy to record an album, it's easier for them to meet people, to go on tour. So also that interest has to be cultivated. And like as educators, you have to teach the younger generation, how to make a band and how to go on tour. But I don't think those tools are so reachable in Portugal, unfortunately, because we're very far away from Europe. Even here in Italy, the trouble. You have some, famous bands, but not so many either. And I think we all have that relation. If we were in Germany or in Sweden, everything might be easier. But also, on the other hand, it makes it even more triumphant for us to be able to be in this market and being so few from these southern countries of Europe. And you see that reflection throughout the world. When you go to South America or even America, the Hispanic community, you have a lot of Italians, Greek, Polish, Portuguese. They're so excited to see a band that comes, that relates to their countries, and not just coming, from all the United States. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, of course. We're all fans of Metallica and Guns N' Roses. I'm a huge Motley Crue fan, so from a kid, I started very young. But the reality, I think, the more you mix it up throughout the world, the same as in society, the more we mix it up, I think we will have a chance to survive.
Yeah. So, what about the beginning, when the band was born, and how about the name that you put to the band, and when did you realize that it was telling, okay, it's working, we are going to be very international, well known?
Well, first we started, I think it started too young. We were very eager and anxious. I did our first demo tape, I was 16. Fernando, our vocalist, was 18 or maybe 19, I don't know. And then all of a sudden we met Christian from Adeposo Records. He was at our show yesterday in France, and he offered us to do an EP for his label. That was our first international opportunity. But then it was an EP vinyl, and it was getting out of, people weren't so interested. So he mentioned, why don't we do a mini CD? I'm like, wow, be able to do an actual CD. It was only 21 minutes, and we did Under the Moonspell. With Under the Moonspell, this was 94, we recorded 93. In 94, we sent it to labels. And Robert from Century Media offered us a 6-album contract on Century Media, which was like coming from Portugal in those days. It was like winning a lottery ticket for us, because not only it was a huge label at the time, but they had our favorite bands, Tiamat, Samael, they had Grave, Unleashed, you name it. They had everything, and they had the producer we wanted to work with, Valdemar Soricha, because he had worked with Samael and Tiamat. That's something we definitely wanted, and they made it happen. We went to Germany, did our first album, Wolfhard. And after then, I was 18 when I recorded the album. First tour, 95 with Morbid Angel, 56 shows throughout Europe, and we haven't stopped since.
Wow.
Over 20 years. And it's a tour after tour, album after album. Sometimes we've seen how the generations have changed, but when it comes to, at the end of the day, as we say, when the people come together and really enjoy the music, everything is possible. So I think metal is still very much alive. You can see it at the festivals, Hellfest, Watkins. Never seen so many people come in from all over the world. Even in the United States, the first tours we did, didn't have so much notion of what was going on in Europe, and now you see so many Americans traveling to see the festivals in Europe. And they're trying to bring back that information and also do better festivals in America in this genre, because it's always been a little. They don't exist. It's a more of a touring. They have big festivals, I think, but not for bands like us. But now you see that coming more and more often. And also in the touring metal scene, you see most of the bands touring these days in America, they're all coming from Europe. Montmartre, In Flames, Dimo Borgir. These are all friends of ours that we grew up trying to make music together and meeting occasionally on festivals. And now you see like every tour, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So it's like we were all from the underground, and now that's the main bands.
Wonderful. And so, what you would suggest to the new bands that are starting now? This is a panorama that is very difficult.
Yeah, that is the problem. It's just very difficult. It's very difficult. But that shouldn't be the reason to stop you. If that's what you really, really want, then you should always pursue your dreams, I think. But also you have to have a notion that it cannot happen. And that's something that we always fought with in Moonspell. We were very negative in that aspect. Like, things were happening, but we didn't want to believe it. We were always thinking, I have to get a job, I have to study, I have to be prepared when this is not working. But the years would pass, and we never, really had to get that job or make money on the side. Not that we're rich, but we've been comfortable. And to be able to live off your band for so long is pretty amazing. So the younger bands definitely have to be committed in investing in their music. That's the most important thing, and have a notion of what business is like, because that's what will rip a band apart, is the business side. So you have to be very on top of merchandising, everything that you're promoting throughout your band, and you have to work hard. The Moonspell used to get off stage and we go straight to the merch booth and hang out with fans. And of course we were 20 years younger, but we made a special connection with our fans that lasts until today.
So it's also to be always like at the beginning with the mood, with the fans and the audience.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some bands can fool you and they seem all nice, but then they're really not. But in our reality, that's never really worked with us. Like, the best moments of the band has always been with the fans, and us being as true as we can and feeling exactly like one of them, because we were also fans going to shows. Nothing has changed. Just because I get on stage doesn't make me like a better person than you or more special than you. And so that's something that you learn throughout your career. Of course, when you're young and you're on TV and everything's happening, you have gold records and you're in the top 20 in Germany in the 90s, when you actually sold records, it can get to your head. And that's something that the musicians and people in general, when they have some kind of success, they have to learn how to deal with that. Because life can be long and there are lots of ups and downs.
Let's be prepared to everything.
So stay true to yourself.
And also you are also working on the new album, or it's going to be prepared in the new year.
Well, we're very focused on this tour right now, obviously. And this last year, we wanted to take some time to be more with our family, because we're all parents now. And I think that was important for us to, have a better notion of what we want to do with the next album. So after this tour, definitely, after we rest, Christmas, everything, blah, blah, blah.
A bit of rest.
Eat a lot in Portugal is what you do in Christmas. And then try and recover as much energy as we can to do a new album. Because in 2020, we definitely need to release something. And we've been working on it. We just don't want to talk too much about it, because we already have so many albums, and we really wanted to have some impact and be special. So to be constantly posting, we're really working on a new album. In the old days, we didn't have internet. Maybe that's what makes us different from most bands. We remember what it was like to have to call someone's mother and leave a message, I'll stop by around 5, or you have to warn people about rehearsals. You can't text them. Or if you didn't hear the last time you were with them, then they probably won't show up. So times have changed, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what we are going to expect today for the concert tonight?
Well, we're playing a lot of 1755, like we mentioned, about the earthquake and the tsunami that happened in Portugal, and that changed a lot of the thinking in Portugal and Europe, because until then it was very Catholic orientated, still is a bit, but after that people started to see more the scientific side of the earthquake and why it was happening and not God's will. So that changed a lot the mentalities. And I think that's something that we're still trying to do today, because we still come from very stubborn mentalities. And our music, you know, we try to bring that on stage, so it's going to be a good balance of the new album and of course Moonspell classics, stuff from Wolfart and Irreligious. We always have to play those songs. It's even for me as a fan, like I go see Iron Maiden, you want to hear the classics.
Yeah, it's not
We try to please as many people as we can, but there's always going to be somebody, oh, you didn't play that song. So it becomes tough sometimes. But we do change the set list day to day.
Yeah, during the tour.
On the tour.
That.
Yeah, we see. It depends on the countries. Today we have a song we're going to be playing that we haven't played in a long time. For at least 20 years here in Italy.
Okay, so we're looking forward to see the concert.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.